only the bold.
And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. It is my honor and my privilege in our multimedia marketing partnership with the entire Big West Conference and all of its full members to feature what we call Journey Out West, which comes to you every Friday here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, 7:15 a.m. Pacific Time. I am here with a spotlight on Cal Poly today and the Mustangs as we journey out west with Jeffrey Armstrong, the president of Cal Poly, speaking on his journey, the Mustangs, leadership, and more. Jeffrey, how are you this morning?
Oh, it's great. It's a great morning to be a Mustang and a member of the Big West, Dan.
And to be a member of the Big West means what to you? When you think about the portfolio, the profile of this conference, why is it imperative for Cal Poly to be joined with the Big West?
Well, I'm in my 16th year at Cal Poly, and we've been a Big West member since before that. I really think about student athletes when I think about the Big West. I think about our California State University, our University of California members. We've also just added California Baptist, one of our own, Sacramento State from the CSU, as well as Utah Valley. And so it is just a solid conference from top to bottom, not just in the academics, but also the athletics. And we're on the rise. We are on the rise.
And when you say that you're on the rise, what is it about Cal Poly that makes you believe you are on the incline? What is happening in the here and now that you believe is going to pay off dividends later?
Well, first of all, I think the Big West is on the rise. I think you're going to see us enhancing what we're doing in men's and women's basketball. We are already have a track record in a lot of other sports, baseball, beach volleyball. You look at it across the Big West, we're an amazing conference. From a Cal Poly perspective, we're excited. We're going to grow as an institution. We have invested more in athletics. We just opened the John Madden Football Center. While that is part of our Big Sky affiliation, it permeates and fuels what we're doing. Recently hired athletic director Carter Henderson. Great run by Don Oberhelman, a lot of stability in that position. That's really helped us. And really our donors, Dan, continue to step up, whether it's from facilities to providing funds to recognize academic excellence in our student athletes. We're just on the rise in a lot of ways. We're riding high.
Yeah, and you mentioned John Madden. Obviously, his voice in connection to the sport of football, be it a video game, be it a game itself, just his overall just air about him, it lives on forever. John Madden will always be synonymous with the world of football, with broadcasting, and with, the sports culture. I mean, he is a timeless name. And, you say John Madden, and even if you know very little about football, you know that name. To have him be connected to Cal Poly, to be a part of the Cal Poly Athletics Hall of Fame, and to see his name, like you said, on a building, what does that mean to you, that badge of honor, and to have John Madden always connected with the Cal Poly mission and everything you're working to do at Cal Poly?
Dan, it's hard to put into words. As I told the group several years ago when we made the announcement of the major gift moving forward, I said, John Madden always loved Cal Poly, but there were a few years where I'm not sure he liked us. But over time, we rebuilt those relationships, and it was a lot of rebuilding we needed to do on our side. And it's just what he stands for: competitiveness, excellence, hard work. That's what we have in our new football coach, Tim Skipper. We also have it with our other coaches in our Big West sports. They have that feel. We haven't made an announcement yet. We just hired a new track and field coach, and we have donors who want our programs to be in the top 20, to be in the top 5, to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
And we have our coaches, our staff, our athletic directors, my leadership team. There's no equivocation of our leadership team on the importance of NCAA athletics. We also have an amazing rodeo program. We have a name that, unfortunately, a person also passed away, very similar stature to John Madden, but in the rodeo world, Cotton Rosser. We also just had one of our former student athletes orbit the moon earlier this year, Artemis 2, Victor Glover.
Yeah.
He played football and he wrestled. Victor, one of the comments that will always stick with me, and one that Victor made the night of the 75th anniversary of our wrestling program, he said, the hardest thing I ever did on purpose in my life was walking in space, and it's really working with your hands. He said, the second hardest thing I ever chose to do in my life was wrestling practice at Cal Poly with Linus Cal. Now that's learned by doing.
Yeah, and I mean, to have a former wrestler, a student athlete that was there on your campus walking, the same steps that you walk today, and then to have him be the one that's walking the steps where you bounce, out in space as an astronaut. I mean, that to me is absolutely incredible to, have the alumni that you're speaking of. But when you talk about somebody who was in the classroom, was there on the mat, and then he's out in space. I mean, it's hard to, you said earlier, it's hard to find words for certain things. It's hard for me to find words to, having an astronaut be a part of the history of Cal Poly. Where do you take that? What do you do with it? How do you utilize that relationship? And to know that very few people have been to space, but one of them is one of your alumni.
We're just really fortunate and blessed, and a really interesting parallel between John Madden and Victor Glover is they were both two sport athletes. Coach Madden was a heck of a baseball catcher, and of course he always made a point to say, I played both ways, offense and defense. So back to the Big West, the other aspect that's exciting about the Big West is, with all the struggles and the tension and the pressures that's around NCAA with NIL and everything else, we recently had one of our student athletes featured in the New York Times as turning down a $1.5 million NIL and staying at Cal Poly. Hamad Musa. And that just really points to the culture that Coach Mike DeGeorge is building with our basketball program. And it also points to overall, I believe, in the Big West, you're going to see student athletes that want to be at one of these Big West universities, whether it's a Cal Baptist, Utah Valley, or CSUs or UCs. They want to be there, and they want to be part of having that legacy and being alumni. And there's no problem with student athletes moving around. I get it. But I think it's also fantastic when they have that 4 years. But we also welcome student athletes that come in that grad year and participate on our beach volleyball team or participate in football. It's all very positive. I really would point out it too is, we've had to make, like a lot of programs, tough decisions over the years, but we've also added two really amazing programs recently, STUNT and women's flag football. We believe in the future of both of those. They're exciting opportunities for our young women. Is it about Title IX? Well, of course there's a piece to that. But this is about an area where we can be excellent, where the Big West can be excellent, and we're trying to catch Cal Baptist in stunt. We're trying to really set the tone for women's flag football. We have some of our recruits competing in the world championships in Dusseldorf, Germany, as we speak. Our coach, Sherman, sent some video to me last week, a few days ago, showing, watching some of our student athletes, Macy and Ashley, accounted for 6 of 8 of U.S. national teams' touchdowns. It's it's exciting, but not to take away from all the sports that have been there. It's an and both. It's not an either or, Dan.
Yeah, and I can appreciate, as we're here and you're the president of Cal Poly, the fact that you keep bringing it back to the entire Big West. It says a lot about you. And I know that you're the chair of the Big West Board of Directors. So, the seat that you have allows you the opportunity to oversee and really look for all of this. But from what I'm hearing from you and your leadership style is, yes, you want to see Cal Poly succeed because you are the president of Cal Poly. That is your institution. But that you want to see the greater Big West succeed because a rising tide lifts all boats. And I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper into that, because sitting on, as the chair of the board, I know obviously plays into this, but there's also something to be said about, your leadership style and how much you care about the entire Big West succeeding and not simply Cal Poly.
No, you said it well, Dan. A rising tide lifts all boats, and we want to win. I mean, we won the Commissioner's Cup.
Yeah.
I think this last year it was very, very exciting how we did that, and we're competitive. And we're competitive academically. We're competitive in all we do. We're now in the maritime arena with Cal Poly Maritime Academy. And we have racing teams, sailing teams. But it's also critical that we all work together and be good competitors. And take women's flag football. We need other programs to be a part of that. You can't be excellent in a vacuum. You've got to have strong teams. Having these teams join our conference makes us better. We need teams that are going to come in and like in stunt or in basketball, in other areas where they're going to be tough to beat. But when we do beat them, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, and having these rivalries, right, that just they fit. I mean, we look at the Big West, you're taking over the majority of the state of California, and then, you bring in Utah Valley. What is that like for you to sit and be the chair of the board of the Big West and to see the portfolio of the Big West and just really encompassing so many nooks and crannies of the state of California, what that does for rivalries, what that does to again, a rising tide lifts all boats, to these, towns and cities and regions of California, to have the Big West have such an imprint on the West Coast and specifically in the state of California, what that does for you, not only in competition, but overall when you look at the state of California and you look at the fact that the Big West has this logo all over the state.
Yeah, I think it gets back to leadership and having consistent leadership. Going back, I've known 2 commissioners of the Big West, Dennis Farrell and Dan Butterly. And having that consistency and not rapid turnover has helped us make some moves, longer term moves, make some decisions on what we think about in our conference. I can tell you our chancellors and presidents all value NCAA athletics, but first and foremost, they are focused on the experience of the student athlete. And how will this benefit the student athlete? How does it open doors and get some of these student athletes a degree from one of these amazing Big West universities when otherwise they would not be able to go to college? Because we don't stop often enough to think about, separate of all the NIL and being able to pay above cost of attendance, providing the scholarship, providing room and board, providing even half the scholarship is life-changing.
Hmm.
And it varies by, it varies by sport, it varies by a lot of ways, and it varies by university. But that's really what I see and what drives me. We have a really good group of presidents and chancellors, and we have really candid conversations. We have a good group of ADs. So it really starts with there's a lot of stability in the room. There's quite a few of the presidents and chancellors that I'm the longest serving of all of them, but there's quite a few that have been there a while, and then the new ones, they're great. And we don't expand just to expand. We want to bring in universities that fit our academic and athletic profile.
And when you're working so closely as the chair of the board in the Big West with the commissioner of the Big West, Dan Butterly, what is that relationship like, and just the conversations that you have in the building of this? You keep saying we, and I keep coming back to the fact of you're representing Cal Poly, but you're also very, very focused on representing the entire Big West. What is it like to have that seat as chair of the board and the back and forth with Dan Butterly as you do look to be very purposeful in any expansion attempt, which just happened very recently with bringing in CBU as well as Utah Valley and Sacramento State?
Well, it's basically my turn to be chair. We're all really equal in our discussions and our voice. Erica Beck, president of CSU Northridge, CSUN, she was the previous chair. Others have been chair before me, and I'm just the one organizing and taking care of some of the more details uh, with an executive committee. So it really is a good group. They'll come together quickly as needed, but we also gather virtually and we gather in person. Our next meeting coming up later this fall is going to be in person, and we get to showcase the John Madden Football Center to all my colleagues across the Big West.
And when we look at
But I have to interject. We'll probably most definitely expose them to some of our products of our wine and viticulture program. We have a very large and successful wine and viticulture program. Even though the industry is struggling, we have amazing students, and it's still amazing industry.
Well, and you mentioned, stunt and women's flag football, the importance of having these sports, these opportunities. I've covered flag football in the collegiate and high school realm. I love the fact that it is really hitting traction. It seems like it took a while and now it's catching stride. And I love what I'm seeing with this. So when you speak on opportunities in that respect, as well as off of athletics, when you mention, the side of things with wine and what you're doing at your school, what does Cal Poly bring when you look at the total portfolio for the experience of a student or student athlete? Why should someone come to Cal Poly? What separates you, and what do you really feel like are those wonderful pieces and elements that you always want to put on display?
Well, what I always say to prospective students, and I meet a lot of prospective student athletes, all the coaches know if I'm available and they need me to talk to a prospect or recruit, I'm there to do that. Regarding women's flag football, one of our key staff members involved in development, who is also now working closely with flag football as sports administrator, Ryan Weissenberg, who has a great track record in professional sports and women's sports, really helped me understand what the potential looks like. And, as we've always said, and I used to say in Michigan, where is the puck going?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly, this event in Dusseldorf is one of the first qualifiers for the Olympics, an Olympic sport in 28.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell says there will be a professional league. It is exciting. And to have a sport where there is clearly a next path, even though it's not for many, that adds another level to it. But regardless of whether they ever play flag football past their 4 years at Cal Poly or 2 years, whatever it may be, they're going to have the Cal Poly degree. And I always say to young folks, go go to a place where your degree is going to appreciate with time. And things to learn by doing, that's what's happened. We're looking to grow. We're switching from quarters to semesters. We're going to move to more of a year-round calendar. Of course, student athletes will stay on the fall and the spring. And that growth is going to present opportunities, and it's going to present more opportunities for year-round internships, study abroad, etc. And so, we will have a new training vessel delivered to the Cal Poly Maritime Academy next year. And in 28, students in a range of majors, even those not in the Coast Guard license programs, can spend 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks on the training vessel for a semester at sea. So that's just one example of the many opportunities that we have. And being part of the California State University and the network of universities we have, several in the Mountain West, some in the Pac-12 now, that's another great environment that we're really fortunate and blessed to be a part of.
Yeah, and like you said, the greater family of California and Cal State and what this all means. There's so many places to go to, and I know we got a little bit of time here this morning. I do want to congratulate you on, two things that are on my mind before we jump into rapid fire, and one of those things being the fact that I followed Cal Poly's run to the Super Regional, a historic season for the baseball team, and seeing what you were able to do. 2 wins away from going to the College World Series, and just an incredible story for Cal Poly, for the Big West overall, and as we talked about, the portfolio, and obviously leading into winning the Dennis Farrell Big West Commissioner's Cup. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on an incredible and historic baseball season, and then overall winning the Commissioner's Cup for the entire conference.
Well, I'll take them in reverse. I jokingly said to our new athletic director, Carter Henderson, I said, what are you going to do to top that next year? And he was quick to give credit for Don Oberhelman and all the coaches and the staff for doing that, because it takes years. So we're very, very excited about that. It was a really big deal, and we had Night of the Mustang, recognized student athletes for awards, and we had all those trophies out, and we had the Commissioner's Cup. Baseball, I love baseball. I played high school baseball, long-term St. Louis Cardinal fan, and in opposition of my name, Armstrong, they moved me from catcher to second base. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And so I've tracked baseball. You talk about, again, longevity and leadership. One of the longest-serving coaches in the country, Larry Lee. His son, a Cal Poly Mustang grad, is doing really well with the Minnesota Twins, hitting home runs right or left. And that was a great run. But that was built on Larry's years of success, but it was also based on donors in the university making some additional investments. We went to the regionals the year before, and then it was Project Omaha. How do we get to Omaha? And it is a very visible project, a little mini campaign. The university had some skin in the game, and we're going to keep doing that. We have an amazing facility, but it also takes the support, retaining the coaches and the assistant coaches. That's all part of it. But the fans, the alumni, are relentless, which is a good thing.
Well, Jeffrey, before I let you go, typically a president will not have the opportunity to ask the questions. They're simply going to be asked but not get to ask. There's a thing here on the show that we call rapid fire. Any topic, any question of what's on your mind. So I'd like to open the floor to you, as I appreciate you telling the story of Cal Poly and the greater Big West. You can ask me anything you'd like, and we'll go back and forth for a couple here. What question would you like to ask first?
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Oh, that's great. I said before, I'm going to say Star Wars all day. It's got to be about the Force. So I will say Star Wars. I do respect Star Trek, though. My question back to you. Okay. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay, and I guess my 1B to that is, if you transformed into a Marvel hero or villain, who would you be and why?
Oh, wow. That is a really really cool one. Yeah, I think I'd want to be one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I love that answer. Never gotten a Guardian before, and I did with my godson dress up as Star Lord a couple of years ago, so I respect that.
Yeah, I'd probably want to be Star Lord, but I don't know. Rocket it would be fun to be Rocket for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, be able to say whatever you want, have that brain that could literally make
Right.
something out of nothing. He's got that MacGyver brain. So, what
Exactly.
what's your second question for me, Jeffrey?
What's your favorite professional team? Any sport?
Well, I'll stay out west, and Dan Butterly knows this. I have been, am, and always will be a proud Anaheim Duck fan. So,
Ah,
yeah,
good.
absolutely. I've been quacking all day since I was a little kid. So I'm going to say Anaheim Ducks. My question back to you: if you were a student athlete today in your prime, what sport would you play at Cal Poly and why? And outside of baseball, because I know you talked about baseball, so you got to pick something else.
Basketball. I played years of pickup basketball. I played on the scout team a couple of times with our Big West winning 2013 team, and a power forward by the name of Kayla Griffith just took me to school. It was not pretty, but it was so much fun.
Okay.
If in the random chance that she hears this, she'll laugh.
Well, fair enough. I'm going to give you a bonus one. I will not ask you another question. You get to have the last word here, so you get the final question. What is it?
Well, I don't really have a question. I just really appreciate what you're doing, spreading the word about the Big West, and we're all in for that. But we're certainly all in for Cal Poly, and you can see my backdrop behind me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the environment that we have. We're we have about $1 billion of additional housing, growth, and other things that we're doing, and we're just so excited about the future. And what's exciting about it is the student athlete. But the last thing I'll say is and student success. It's the success of student athletes and our student success. But most students won't remember who the president was, who the dean was, but they'll remember that faculty member or that staff member who changed their life, the custodian who helped them when they were down, and just even with a smile. So it's really about people. It's really about people.
Well, I always say I'm a relationship based person, not a transactional person. So I can appreciate that, echo that. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank all of the leaders of the Big West for entrusting me with Dan Butterly and his staff to tell the story of the Big West. We've only just begun, and I'm very excited to continue to make history, as the Big West absolutely has been bold in signing this partnership and joining me in doing something that's never been done this way by any conference anywhere in this great nation of the United States. So I want to say thank you, Jeffrey, to you, to all the presidents and chancellors. I look forward to the opportunity, and I'm very grateful for this moment that we have to spread Cal Poly, spread the Big West, and I look forward to talking with you, your coaches, and your student athletes very soon. And I'll end it by saying ride high.
Well, back at you, ride high, and you're welcome to come any game you want, anytime. And thank you and Dan for the vision for this. Thanks.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.